Hello. Hello. What's today? Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. I was making sure that it was actually Tuesday. Hey guys. What is going on? Sorry, I was looking at some stuff on Micah. Let's see. It's showing me the same thing over and over and over. What is this one? Hold on. I'm ill prepared. I just wanted to jump on tonight because Chad Doerman, the dad that shot his 3 sons, you remember last time we went over it, he was trying to get what you call it? Hold on. Okay. He was trying to get them to take out his confession. Hey, Steph. Hey, Kate. Yes, the swimmer song is not about sperm, but it kind of is because it sounds like it. Like now, every time I sing it, it all just makes sense. If you really listen to the words, it really does all make sense. Hey, Deborah. Kate the Great Murder Candy. Hello. Thank y'all for coming by. But I just wanted to go over it because he was trying to get his confession thrown out. You remember they said that he didn't read, like when he was asked if he wanted a lawyer, he wasn't being very upfront, like transparent. Like he should have said, "Yeah, I want a lawyer." But instead he kept acting confused. Hey, Dad. Also, so we're going to go over the most recent thing. Y'all already know. I can feel it in my bones that y'all already know what this mudda clucka is trying to do. Speaking of cluckas, George has made it 3 nights. That's right. 3 nights. How amazing is that? Let's hit it for the George.
Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Move that ass. Let the right go work that ass. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on.
Now let's just hope that he will again one day twerk that ass. We're not out of the woods yet. He is a tough old cock. We're not out of the woods yet, but Mom said he is eating like crazy today. Hey, Penny. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Jen. And drinking. But he's eating more today than he has been. And she feels like he's going to start trying to like walk around. He's in he's in a spare bedroom there. I said, "Well, God, we can't." Hey, D. I said, "We can't just let him walk around." But I guarantee she will let him just walk around in that room wherever he wants, and she'll clean up behind him the whole way. She said, "Don't be surprised if you get this chicken back, and he's snuggly and cuddly and not mean anymore. Excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold. I know him shake him will tell feathers. He said I will tell feathers. Yes, him will. Yes, him will. Him will live to shake them tail feathers again. Yes, him will. Love my baby. Mom is, yeah, she's the MVP. Oh, hey, one slide. Thank you, babe. I've been struggling a little bit about Loretta. I finally got her eggs out of the bucket today. It's just weird. It's having to get used to walking outside without her being there, or coming home from work and not being greeted, because she would always greet me when me and Kaden pulled up, and she did it because she wanted my ice water, because I take ice water with me every single day. So I come home with ice water, a little bit of it left. And she would always greet me and stare up at me at my cup like she was going to fly up and jump on my shoulder to get it. So I would just give her the ice water and then pour the rest out. But so it's weird. It's weird not having her here to do that. But I'm getting used to it. Am I talking to George? No, I'm pumping him up. I'm giving him a pep talk in my mind. Mom's been giving him a pep talk every day. Every day. Like when I'm like, I call her in the morning, I'll be like, Mom, is he alive? And she'll say, yeah, he's alive. And then she'll go in there while she's on the phone with me and she'll be like, he's a little George. I'm such a good, strong man. Yeah, Mom has videos, but his neck looks awful. Oh, man. But I do miss my Loretta girl. The girls seem to be fine. They're just doing their own thing. They pretty much put themselves up, which I was worried about. I knew they would put themselves up, but I figured they'd straggle behind, like take longer. But no, they're still in their routine and they're still putting themselves up. Yeah. So once George is well, very well, then we will be going to the auction to get two more hens. Him so cute, delicious. You're so cute. Yeah, it does, Steph. All right. Anyway, so let's move on to what the topic of the night is, which is Chad Doerman. Remember, he is the dad that shot his 3 boys out of nowhere. Crazy as shit. Like, what is going on? And then when the cops got there to arrest him, he was just sitting on his porch with the gun laying next to him on the stoop, like the little steps. He was very cooperative. He was very kind and respectful to the police. It was weird as fuck. This is also the case where the cop was walking him to the car and he had asked him to do something with his wallet. And the cop told him, basically, you have the right to shut the fuck up. Gang, gang, tell him, baby, tell him. All right, so I want y'all to see what he's trying to get away with. Y'all ready for this? I'm sure y'all already know. I can feel it. Y'all already.
They had this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys.
That was the prosecutor in Chad Doermans' case last year. But now Doerman says he shouldn't face the possibility of the death penalty as a punishment. I'll tell you why and what it means for his trial that was supposed to take place this summer. I have 3 new developments in Chad Doermans' case. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. There's a new twist in Chad Doermans' case in Ohio. His attorneys have filed a motion asking that the death penalty be removed as a possible punishment in his trial. Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty against Doerman, who's charged with the premeditated murders of his 3 little boys, Clayton.
You heard that. Premeditated.
Hunter and Chase, in June of 2023. Those boys were just 7, 4, and 3 years old. I've told you before about the horrific, unthinkable crime. Doerman's accused of pulling a rifle from his gun safe and hunting each one of those little boys down, one by one, and shooting them. The boy's mother called 911.
Hunting them down and shooting them. Hey, ma'am, I'm live streaming. I'm not talking to you. Are you a ma'am? I was talking to Nala. Rude. Okay. Premeditated. He hunted these children down.
911, and she tried to save them, and even suffered a gunshot wound to the hand trying to stop Doerman. The boy's older stepsister also tried to save the boys, even running toward a fire station with one of them in her arms.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department. Sit down. It's my stepdaughter. Put him in the cage.
Doerman is accused of chasing after that girl and ordering her at gunpoint to put one of the boys down and then shooting him. And while I say Doerman is accused of these things, he's definitely accused of killing the boys. He hasn't been convicted of the crime, but he is also now admitting that he killed his sons, but says he was insane at the time he committed the murders.
Get the fuck out of here. You premeditated it. Like, you thought this up. You told them. And the confession did get thrown out, just so y'all know. Like, what he told them is gone. Like, it's not admissible. It will not be able to be used in court against him. But I'm hoping that when he went into telling them about the premeditated part of it, I'm hoping that part is not part of the original confession that he got thrown out. Because you cannot be insane for the moment while you premeditated this shit. You just can't do it, my guy.
Which is a separate matter from him arguing that he's too mentally ill to be put to death if he is convicted. In his motion to remove the death penalty from his case, Doerman's attorneys wrote, Mr. Doerman acknowledges that if the court finds that he is statutorily ineligible for a death sentence due to serious mental...
Here, let me slow it down. I know I'm so used to listening to this stuff on 2 times speed. I forget other people aren't... Not everybody does that.
...illness or SMI, and the jury convicts him of aggravated murder and one or more aggravating circumstance, the court will sentence him to life imprisonment without parole. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is a serious...
Let me answer this question. Hey, no, you don't, Genevieve. You don't. Somebody just asked me. Oh, Summy. Hey, babe. George is okay. He's getting better. And he's eating and drinking. So we're not out of the woods, but we're working on it. Yeah. With all the witnesses, like his stepdaughter, his wife, he made the stepdaughter drop one of the children, the middle child, and then he snatched the youngest child from the mother. Fuck him.
Mental illness, or SMI, under Ohio law. What is it that could have been going on with Chad Doerman's mental health at the time? What was happening in his mind that would allow him or prompt him to hunt down his sons like that? Well, it lists 4, the law does. They are schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, and delusional disorder. Exactly which one of these illnesses Chad Doerman claims to have or have had or has remains unclear. We should learn more about that when his lawyers file a...
None, 0, zip, zilch. He ain't got none. He knew exactly what the fuck he did, and he knew what he did. He knew what he was gonna do before he did it, and then he knew afterwards what he did, and he fucking instantly regretted it. You're crazy, bro. Yeah, you're crazy to think that you could just get off with this. No, you need the death penalty. We need to bring back what are they called? The gallows or whatever. We need old Sparky. Like, we need to bring everything. Shit, let's tie him up and drag him behind a truck down the old country road at this point. Fuck you, dude.
Additional documents with the court. And really, this serious mental illness statute is relatively new in Ohio. It's just 3 years old. Judge Farron called this uncharted territory and explained how he'll determine whether Chad Doerman was indeed suffering from a serious mental illness at the time that he shot and killed his sons.
While the statute labels this as a pretrial hearing, it's really a much more complex and detailed hearing. And as I call it, it's not a pretrial hearing, it's a pretrial trial, simply limited to whether the death penalty can be eliminated or can be maintained based upon the statutory conditions there.
So there's going
So
to be a mini trial of sorts
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's going to be like a mini trial.
in August. Experts from both sides will testify about their examination of Chad Doerman and his mental state at the time that Clayton, Hunter, and Chase were killed.
Absolutely, Dad. That's what I'm saying. Like, you targeted, you knew, like, you wanted your 3 boys dead for whatever reason. You wanted that. And you didn't turn it on anybody else. If you was really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, why wouldn't you have just shot your stepdaughter while she was holding your son and then shot your son? Shot your wife purposefully. Yes, she got shot through the hand, but that wasn't even on purpose. Get the fuck out of here.
Now, this is a question of whether the death penalty is a punishment that Chad Doerman should face. Should the jury actually be
Thank
allowed to
you,
consider the death
Steph.
penalty as a punishment? Again, this is a separate issue from whether Chad Doerman is not guilty by reason of insanity or mental disease or defect. He changed his plea to not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect or insanity, meaning he's claiming he didn't
I hope, Genevieve, I hope they will let us see that.
know what he was doing was wrong at the time that he did it. He's admitting he killed his sons, but saying he
Fucking
was so mentally
coward.
ill at the time, he didn't know what he was doing was wrong.
Bullshit.
We'll have more on that and what Doerman said that day later in the show. But first, there was some interesting information in the court documents about what doctors who evaluated Chad Doerman found. Doerman claims that Dr. Bob Stinson, a board-certified forensic psychologist, examined him and found that he had a severe mental disease at the time of the alleged commission of the offenses that caused him to not appreciate the wrongfulness of his actions and met the requirements for NGRI or
to not, okay, so this severe mental disease caused him to not appreciate the wrongfulness of his actions. What are we even talking about?
not guilty by reason of insanity. The defense says Dr. Stinson is expected to file a companion report saying that Doerman
Absolutely,
suffered from a
Butterfly.
serious mental illness at the time of the murders.
Hey,
The
Judge
defense
Jay.
also mentions, though, that another professional, Dr. Emily Davis, found that Mr. Doerman had a severe mental disease at the time of the alleged offenses, but differed with Dr. Stinson regarding Mr. Doerman's appreciation of the wrongfulness of his actions. And that document was actually filed under seal. Now, because this is going to happen, this mini trial of sorts about Chad Doerman's mental state at the time that the boys were killed, his trial is not going to begin in July as anticipated, and he's waived his right to a speedy trial. The judge actually questioned Doerman about this.
And just briefly, Mr. Doerman, I know that Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes have been representing you, but they discussed these matters with you, in particular the waiver of your speedy trial rights, as Mr. Myers has just stated.
Yes, sir.
And you're in full agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And understandably, this is upsetting to the surviving victims. That
No
would be Clayton,
shit.
Chase, and Hunter's mother, stepsister, and other family members. They want this to move forward as quickly as possible.
Based on Marcy's law, we spoke with the surviving victims. They want to, obviously, they understand that this is a long process, but they do want to have this wrapped up as soon as possible so that they can begin to close this chapter of their lives and move on from the court process.
Joining me to discuss this latest set of developments in Chad Doerman's case is someone who's been following it very closely. He's Josh Ritter. He's a former prosecutor, also a defense attorney, and the host of Courtroom Confidential on YouTube. So, Josh, your reaction to the defense basically telling the judge, look, our client was so mentally ill at the time that he committed these crimes that he should not even face the death penalty as a possible punishment.
Hey, Pookie.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as disturbing as this case is and as troubling as it is,
Welcome.
and as much as I want this man to see the most justice that he can possibly see, I will tell you this argument does have some legs to it. According to
How scary is that? This argument does have some legs to it. The fuck? I will fucking riot if this dude gets off without the death penalty. Maybe I won't. Never mind. Let me take that back. Joneson's not rioting because, like Dad said, even if they take the death penalty off the table due to his mental illness, he'll get his in prison one way or another.
the Constitution, both in his state and the U.S. Constitution, there's a protection against cruel and unusual punishment. And the law has been changing and understanding more recently that should include people who are suffering from serious mental illness. And that's the argument that his team is making here, is that he was suffering from serious mental illness. So therefore, he couldn't appreciate the gravity and consequences of his actions at the time, and therefore shouldn't be eligible for the death penalty. It's a very similar argument.
We are not children here. At 26 years old, your brain is fully developed. It's going to work the way it's meant to work. You have, that's crazy to me. To me, that defense is like saying, I'm a child, I didn't know better. Are you kidding me? You couldn't weigh out your consequences? The fuck out of here.
To what we see, which he's also entered into in this case for a not guilty by insanity defense.
And as I mentioned earlier in the show, these are kind of two companion arguments, but they're two separate arguments, because right here, what they're arguing is that the jury shouldn't even hear about the death penalty. This should not be a death penalty qualified jury, which adds another layer of complexity to even selecting the juror. So they're saying you shouldn't even talk about the death penalty. This shouldn't be a punishment. We're basically conceding that he did this. Okay, that's what they're saying. We're conceding he did.
Well, they don't have many options but to concede that he did it. Fuck his confession. Fuck his mental illness. It is what it is. He did it. He chased these boys down and did it in front of people.
Did this, but that he was so mentally ill at the time, he didn't appreciate the wrongfulness of his actions. That's the not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. But we're saying he was so mentally ill as well, the second part of this, that he shouldn't even face death as a punishment. And there's going to be a mini trial.
I have the same question. When, does he all of a sudden become sane after he's been in jail? When was the moment when the insanity stopped? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. No, girl, you're not misunderstanding. This shit's wild. You were not insane. Like, well, I can't really say that. I beg to differ, because he is insane, because it takes an insane motherfucker to do what he did. But he shouldn't be able to claim mental illness and have the death penalty taken off.
Of sorts, because the law changed in Ohio about 3 years ago, the judge said, and really there's going to have to be a mini trial for the judge to determine whether or not the defense can provide enough evidence by a preponderance of the evidence to show that Chad Doerman should not face the death penalty as a possible punishment. So explain to me preponderance of the evidence as a legal standard, Josh.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're going to have essentially a mini trial. They're going to have experts called in, and this is unique because the judge is going to need to decide this issue about his mental, not competency, but whether or not he was suffering from some sort of serious mental illness before it even sees the light of day at trial. And you're right to point out, this is a lower standard. Preponderance is much lower than beyond a reasonable doubt. Preponderance just says more likely than not. So if the judge feels that more likely than not he was suffering from some sort of serious mental illness, he's going to take the death penalty off the table. And as you pointed out, this is not a small thing because it will hugely impact jury selection. It will no longer be what we call a death qualified jury, meaning usually when you have a death qualified jury, you have people who kind of lean more towards law enforcement, more conservative. So he's going to have the advantage of not having those jurors as part of the jury pool going into the trial itself.
It's really difficult to talk about cases like Chad Doerman and the murder of his 3 sons. But I want to take a quick break from that to tell you about something that could help you keep you in the truth, put in a name safe. I'm in County, Ohio, where this happened. It's 1 county east of Hamilton County, where Cincinnati is in Ohio. This is an area I covered.
That was when he first went in, Dad. That's right after he did it.
For years in local news. It's a more conservative area. So you're going to have a more conservative jury pool anyway. And the judge had already said, because this trial was supposed to happen in July, now that's not happening. They've already sent out 750 questionnaires to potential jurors because they have to do that in a death penalty case. So now that whole thing is kind of gone. That's just not even a thing right now. So that's kind of
it is. This is a snowflake justice system, and that's what's wrong with our fucking world today. Maybe if we still cut hands off for thieves, they wouldn't thieve. Maybe if it's eye for an eye, maybe we wouldn't have so many rapes and murders going on. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Pushed off to the side so they can have this mini trial of sorts in August.
Shit. I don't really want anybody's hand cut off, y'all. I'm just talking shit.
Let's say the judge finds by a preponderance of the evidence that he was suffering from a severe mental illness at the time that he committed these crimes. Then you just bring in a regular jury and they decide whether he it could appreciate that what he was doing was right or wrong. That will be the question the jury will have to determine, or whether he is guilty indeed of aggravated murder and he will get life in prison.
You're absolutely right. And it also changes the dynamic of how the defense attorneys handle the case, because usually when you have a case where you have death penalty on the table, it's a bifurcated trial. You have a trial on the facts themselves to decide guilt. Then if they find him guilty, then you go into a whole new phase, the penalty phase, trying to decide the death penalty. And it's difficult for defense attorneys to try to figure out how strong are they going to go on the guilt phase so that they maintain some credibility for the penalty phase. Whereas here, if that's off the table, they can make their arguments as strong as they want. And like you pointed out, their arguments aren't even he didn't do it. Their arguments are just simply that he didn't have the mental capacity to appreciate the consequences of his actions.
There are 4 serious mental illnesses, back to this whole question about whether or not he should even be eligible for the death penalty. There are 4 that the statute lists, and they are schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, and delusional disorder. And those are the 4. We don't know at this time which disorder Dr. Stinson has found that Chad Doerman was suffering from or was diagnosed with at the time that he killed his sons. I mean, he's admitting he killed his sons.
Chris,
That's
from
not
what
the
I
legal
understand,
question here.
yes. But I don't know.
They're going to have
for
to determine whether he suffers from those 4, one of those 4, I'm assuming, according to statute or some variation of the 4. Then the prosecution, they're going to have an expert who's going to come in as well, Josh, and testify to what? Is this person going to testify to the exact opposite? We don't know, because that person was just kind of enlisted by the prosecution to do this work in the last week or so. So
I agree. This was in Ohio. If that shit happened down here in Georgia and he was sitting on the stoop with that gun next to him and refusing to stand up or put his hands in the air because they told him over and over and over, and he just sat there and ignored them, that shit would not have happened here. Sorry, not sorry. They would have did what they needed to do.
Do you expect that the person for the prosecution will automatically find he wasn't suffering from some sort of serious mental illness?
No, right, Grandma?
Such a great question, because listen, the facts themselves almost speak towards the idea that he's suffering from some sort of serious, severe mental illness here. You have an unmotivated crime. No one appears to understand why he would do something this horrible and horrific. So already, I think, just from a layperson's perspective, you believe that something must be wrong with this individual. And you're right, the prosecution is going to have to argue they're walking a fine line, because I think they have to concede that there was something he was dealing with, some sort of mental crisis. But does that rise to the level of him not being able to appreciate his actions and therefore being ineligible for the death penalty? And I think that kind of legal, nuanced argument is where they're going to try to score as many points as they can with the judge. And the other thing to think about here is that you're asking a judge with this kind of a tragedy to take the death penalty off the table and take that out of the hands of the community, essentially. There might be some other considerations in the back of that judge's mind of whether or not he really wants to take this step, realizing the backlash that the community may have to not hold this type of a person responsible in that way.
But the judge is also...
That dude has really good skin. Sorry. Did y'all notice? Look how good flawless. His skin is on fleek. Pores where? I see 0 pores. And that's not makeup hiding no pores. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe he's got the right lighting. I don't know, but I can dig it. Look how smooth and, I mean, hello. Sorry.
The community may have to not hold this type of a person responsible in that way.
But the judge is also retiring at the end of the year.
Very good point. Very good point. And you would expect that the judges... Right. You would expect the judges follow the law regardless of outside pressures. It's just an element to think about, but that's also a good point.
Yeah. And not to take away from the tragedy of this at all, because it is a tragedy. Those little boys should be here. And we're going to talk more about those little boys here in just a little bit. But the judge is retiring at the end of the year. They talked about the possibility of bringing in maybe a visiting judge who would be death penalty qualified to take over once he retires at the end of the year. But this is going to be a big question this judge is going to have to decide. And these circumstances do kind of beg the question, what was going on with him? Because the allegation, Josh, is that he came home from work early. He gets a gun out of the safe. He's walking around with a Bible saying Chad knows what's right. And he hunts down his little boys and kills them, executes them, and then sits on the porch. It's on body camera footage with a rifle next to him and waits for these cops to take him into custody. He knows he's going to jail. And then he's like, just nonchalantly, as they're putting the cuffs on him, saying things like, hey, can you get my wallet out of my pocket? It's kind of bothering me. I'm not going to hurt you. Like, it kind of, you're like, what is going on with this guy? I mean, it boggles the mind.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a crime more disturbing and more offensive than this. I mean, the idea that he lined them up, these little boys.
No.
Who, by the way, the only person in the whole world that they're expecting to.
No, we need to correct that real quick. He did not line them up. I'm sorry. Yes, he did still murder all 3 of his kids, but he didn't line them up execution style. And I know that's what everybody thought it was at the beginning, but it's not. They were all spread out. But he did bring 2 of them to the same spot. But no, he didn't line them up and then shoot them. Sorry, just wanted to correct that real quick.
Protect them is this man who's committing this crime of taking their lives. He's hunting them down. And the more and more you think about it, the more and more it's disturbing to you. And there's the problem, right? Is that it's so bizarre and so disturbing, and we can't wrap our heads around it, that will we feel that this, or will the judge feel that this man was obviously suffering from some severe mental illness? But then at the same time, isn't this exactly the type of person that if we're going to have capital punishment in this country, isn't it exactly this type of a crime that's reserved for? And so, again, it's a difficult decision. I do not envy this judge having to make this call.
No, not at all. And this mini trial of sorts, and the judge even said we're in uncharted territories because this hasn't really been something that's been argued a lot because the statute is so relatively new. This will take place in August. Both sides will present experts and testimony. It will be open to the public. We will be able to see what is being argued. And then the judge will have this big decision to make. So the prosecution believes Chad Doermans should be put to death. They said that last year when they said they would seek the death penalty. This is what the prosecution wants. So we will see what happens as we learn more about what mental illness Chad Doerman is believed to suffer from. Josh Ritter, host of Courtroom Confidential, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's take a look back now at some of the things that Chad Doerman said the day that his boys were killed. That was Chad Doerman as Clermont County Sheriff's deputies took him into custody that terrible day in June of last year. It was moments after prosecutors said he shot his little boys, their lives snuffed out in a matter of minutes.
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it.
During a hearing that resulted in Doerman's statement to law enforcement being suppressed, the detective, Mike Ross, recalled some things that Doerman said during the interview.
He had made a comment that the Bible says that you kill your firstborn, you kill your secondborn, you kill your thirdborn, but first you're supposed to kill your wife. I didn't kill my wife. So I really thought that was a very important comment that he had just made. And I wanted him to repeat to me some of the things that he had said. And I was asking him about that, and he cut me off. He stopped me from talking and said, I'll just, in a one sentence, he says, I'll just wait for a lawyer. I really don't know. Like, give me a couple days. I'll talk to a lawyer and get nice, good answers. He says that all in basically one breath.
And there were some things that Doerman said when detectives were not in the room.
He said, almost like under his breath, like a whisper, what the fuck did I do? Another point, he says, what the fuck did she let me do? Another time, it looked like he was checking the back of his shirt for blood. There was another point where he's looking around and he says, where's the cameras? Where's the cameras? So he was looking for cameras.
Getting lost in the legal proceedings and the questions about Doerman's rights and his mental state are those little boys, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase. Their obituary said that Clayton was known as Clayton Man and loved making Lego creations, telling jokes, and riding his go-kart, and laughing while loving his best dog pal, Gatlin. Family called Hunter, Hunter Dog. The 4-year-old loved going to the creek and catching frogs and playing baseball and called his mom and sister, quote, pretty girls. And little Chase, known as Chasers, he loved swinging on swings and wanted to be a baseball player like his big brothers. He loved playing with dinosaurs and pretending to be a superhero. He was the best cuddler and will be forever known as Mama's baby. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. We'll keep.
What do y'all think about that? Ugh. I was looking because apparently another probable cause affidavit, or a renewed probable cause affidavit, because the part where they said that he was walking around, he came home early from work and was walking around with a Bible saying weird shit, like that wasn't in the original probable cause affidavit. But this is new details added in. So I wanted to see where that was, but I haven't found it. Let's see. I looked at the county court where he was. Sometimes you can find it on here on Twitter. Let's see. I just want to find the probable cause affidavit. Let's see. What is it? Oh, hold on. New-ish. Yeah, okay, the docket. We can always count on the docket. Let me follow them. New-ish docs. The judge in Chad Doermans' case changed the jury pool selection number from 500 to 750. Order for second psych eval at the time of the crime. Motion for jury view inside and out of the house. Yeah, because one of the boys was shot inside the house. And order for jail to turn his records over. Okay, hold on. This one's about the jury going inside and outside of the house. Specifically, the state is requesting that the jurors be permitted to view the exterior and interior of the residence located at blank, included but not limited to the following locations: the master bedroom, the location of the gun safe, the location in the master bedroom where one of the children was initially shot, the kitchen, family, and dining rooms, the children's bathroom where blank is believed to have been shot, the front side. So he shot two inside? I could have swore he only shot one inside. The front, the side, and rear doors of the residence, the side yard where the bodies of blank and blank were located, the field where blank was initially shot, and the location of the fire department in relation to the residence. Huh. Let me see what y'all are saying. No, but I don't know, Ashley, but I know he's a drinker. Yeah, he's an alcoholic. Oh, we're about to go over that too. Oh, you're welcome, Sammy. Yeah, I could have swore it was one was shot in the master bedroom, the other one took off. And he was shot in the field. And then the stepdaughter grabbed one of the smallest one, I thought. I don't know. Oh, so he must have been Kendra. That would make sense if the oldest was shot in the house and then he took off and was shot again. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, mom did get shot in the hand too. I would like the updated affidavit, man. Let's see. Man, the doc. Tony, can we not? Can we not? You don't be rude. You're being rude first. You're being a rudeness monster. Ugh.
Major development at 6 o'clock tonight. A Claremont County judge has just ruled in favor of a Claremont County father accused of killing his 3 young sons before that case goes to trial. So attorneys for Chad Doerman claiming deputies were in the jail cell during privileged communications between Doerman and healthcare providers and recorded those conversations. Doerman's attorneys wanted those statements to be tossed out before his trial. They also argued that he invoked his right to counsel at least twice during an interrogation, and detectives ignored that request. Today, the judge ruling that Doerman had some rights violated, and prosecutors now cannot include the statements that he made to deputies after his arrest in the trial. That trial, by the way,
I'm convinced it's because that judge is old as dirt. And he's senile and doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. Okay, so this isn't the affidavit, but it's court TV, and it gives you kind of a rundown what's in it. Let's see. Revealed new information about the tragic and grisly murders of the 3 young boys on June 15th. He was quickly taken into custody, where he later admitted to killing his 3 sons. Despite allegedly confessing to law enforcement that he was responsible for the murders, Doerman pleaded not guilty in court on June 23rd. A bill of particulars filed in Claremont County. That's what we read first. It wasn't an affidavit. It was a bill of particulars. A bill of particulars filed in Claremont County laid out more information about the homicides and the months leading up to them when Doerman said he'd been thinking about killing his children. Let me click on that and see what it takes me to. Not the document, I'll tell you that. The document says on the day of the murders, Doerman came home from work early, which we knew, and asked his wife and the boys to join him in the master bedroom for a nap. We knew that. Next to the bed was a gun safe holding the Marlin Model HC-22 rifle he would later use to open fire on his family. While this is happening, the boy's sister was watching television in the family room of the home. After lying down with his wife and 3 sons, the document says Doerman got back out of bed and retrieved the rifle from the gun safe. He inserted a loaded magazine into the rifle and shot one of his sons twice, according to the document. Okay, but this is telling us what the original bill of particulars told us. But there's new information new details that have been added where they said he was walking around the bedroom with a Bible saying something like, I don't know, Chad knows what to do or something like that. The mother of the children immediately began to render aid to the boy and yelled for her other sons to run. By this time, the sister had made her way to the master bedroom in time to witness the first shots fired, according to the document. She ran after one of her brothers, screaming for him to keep running, but Doerman gave chase, firing at the boy as he fled. The document says the boy was hit by gunfire and fell. Doerman approached the boy and fired again at close range. The young girl then ran back to the house where she picked up another. God bless her. She tried to save him. She really did. So she ran back to the chaos and picked up another one of her brothers and fled with him in her arms. As she neared the road, Doerman called up with the 2, raised the rifle, and demanded she put her brother down. Doerman attempted to fire the rifle, but it didn't go off. The document says the gun appeared to be out of ammunition. The young boy then ran to his mother, who had left the home and gone into the yard to render aid to the boy shot outside. The young girl began to run towards the Monroe Township Fire Department nearby, telling a passerby who stopped her that her father was killing everyone as she fled. The third boy and his mother were approached by Doerman, who bit the woman in an attempt to wrestle her child from her arms. During the struggle, the woman grabbed the rifle and Doerman fired, shooting her through her thumb. In the chaos, she dropped her child, who Doerman shot once in the head. After the defendant executed all three boys, he sat on the side stoop of the residence and watched the boy's mother attempt life-saving measures on her children, the document says. In all, 9 total shots were fired. So, for 3 boys, 9 shots were fired. One boy was shot once, and the other 2 were each shot 4 times. Jesus Christ. The defendant made multiple statements to law enforcement, such as, "I did it, take me to jail. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have shot at them." The defendant also gave a statement during an audio and video recorded interview during which he admitted to having been thinking about shooting his son since October. Doerman allegedly told investigators that he hadn't slept in 3 to 4 days leading up to the murders because the thoughts of having to kill his sons was so heavy on him. So where's the part about him walking around with a Bible? It was in that affidavit. They highlighted it and everything. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it, y'all. And when I find it, I'm going to post it on the community, on my community board, and y'all can just read through the documents yourself. I will find them. Even if I have to get Deetsy to help me. I'm going to look for these damn papers. Yeah, he worked. He came home early from work. Anyways, enough of this piece of shit. I will keep y'all updated on that. See, this one says, hold on. Continue reading. Okay, so according to the document, Doerman returned home early from work, and after being home for a little while, okay, so I guess he got in the bed with his wife and kids. He said, let's take a nap or whatever. He picked up a Bible. So he gets up, he picks up a Bible and began walking around the house with it. Chad knows what's right, the document says. Doerman mumbled while walking with the Bible. Doerman then went to get into his gun safe in the master bedroom. The documents say Doerman's wife intervened and told Doerman that he was scaring her, that she didn't like what he was doing, and that she was going to call his parents. Doerman responded that he was just kidding and playing around, according to the document. After that, okay, this is laying it out a little better. After that, Doerman decided to lie down in the bedroom. Okay, this makes more sense. Let me share it so y'all can read along with me. This makes so much more sense. Okay, guys. Okay. A paragraph has been added that details more of Doerman's alleged actions in the moments before police say he fired the first shots. Okay, so Chad gets home from work and had been home for a little while. Gets home early from work. Been home for a little while. He picked up a Bible and began walking around the house with it, mumbling to himself that Chad knows what's right. Chad's wife, the children's mother, told him that he was scaring her and that she didn't like what he was doing and that she was going to call his parents. He then told her, "I'm just kidding, ha ha ha, just playing around." After that is when Doerman decided to lie down in the bedroom. Because of his behavior, his wife did not want him to be alone. So she and one of the children went into the bedroom with him. From there, the narrative of events is the same as the initial version released in 2023. So the rest is the same. That's okay. That's crazy. Hey, Burden. Delusional disorder. Delusional disorder is a type of mental health condition in which a person can't tell what's real from what's imagined. There are many types, including persecutory, jealous, and grandiose types. It's treatable with psychotherapy and medication. It's the type of psychotic disorder. Its main symptom is the presence of one or more delusions. A delusion is an unshakable belief in something that's untrue. The belief isn't a part of the person's culture or subculture, and almost everyone else knows this belief to be false. People with delusional disorder often experience non-bizarre delusions. Non-bizarre delusions involve situations that could possibly occur in real life, such as being followed, deceived, or loved from a different distance. These delusions usually involve the misinterpretation of perceptions or experiences. In reality, these situations are either untrue or are highly exaggerated. Non-bizarre delusions are different from bizarre delusions, which include beliefs that are impossible in our reality, such as believing someone has removed an organ from your body without any physical evidence of the procedure. I do not doubt that he will try this. I mean, is it just me? I don't think it's just me. I don't doubt it at all. Let's see. Let me see what y'all are saying over here. It sure was, Genevieve. No, he has not been diagnosed. There's excuse me. They're saying that they think, like, there's some professionals, some doctors saying that they think that he suffered from a mental disease. But it's not 100% that, like, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask, really, Southern Gal, because, you know, there's always going to be those experts that believe he was and those that believe he wasn't. So, yeah, he knew what he was doing, Butterfly. It's insane. It's fucking insane. All right, let's pull up the next thing. All right, so next is Micah Miller. Micah, let's see, let me pause this. Micah, I'm sure y'all have heard about Mica Millar. She has been talked about a lot lately this week on YouTube. Supposedly she unalived herself, but the circumstances were kind of weird, and the history she had with her soon-to-be ex, well, they were split, but they were getting a divorce. 2 days before she was unalived, she had filed for divorce from him. He had also been terrorizing her. He was a womanizer. I mean, first off, it seemed like he kind of groomed her because he met her when she was 14. But on top of that, he was a womanizer. He harassed her. He stalked her. He admitted to slashing her tires. It's just, it wasn't good. He would send her creepy emails, creepy text messages. So, of course, everybody on YouTube, when this hit, you know, mainstream media, everybody on YouTube's like, he did it. He did it. Listen, the dude's a piece of shit, but we just can never tell, right? I was kind of leaning more towards she unalived herself solely because she had a history. Like, it's a very prominent history of struggling with mental health issues. And she wasn't shy about it. It didn't seem she was embarrassed about it. It seemed like more than anything, she wanted to use her past and her history to help other people realize that they don't have to reside in that headspace. They don't have to stay in that dark headspace. I agree. I think that even though he was not there, because he wasn't, they have come out, they have released the 911 call, they have come out and they said it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. They also showed that he was in another place at another time at a sports event in a whole nother town. So no, did he put the gun to her? No, but he absolutely enticed this. He harassed her and aggravated and stalked her to the point of no fucking return. She probably felt like she had no way out. And for somebody that's already dealing with these tendencies, that would only escalate those tendencies. That would only, like, if she's already struggling with wanting, to beat her depression or beat these dark thoughts in her head, like, and he's just constantly harassing her. I don't know. It's so fucked up. It's like, no, you are not physically responsible for it, but you are responsible for it. You are responsible for her taking her life. In the head. Which is weird on its own. Most women don't shoot themselves in the head. Yeah, he ain't no preacher. He's a damn scoundrel. It is uncommon, Steph. What was Papa Jones's question? I think you're right. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with these weak ass men? He's already moved on and with another woman. But he was legit harassing her and driving her crazy. And when you already got her struggling, dealing with her own thoughts, her own demons, and you're just adding to it, bro, it's sick. It's sick. Yeah, he's already dating. He was having an affair. I know, but Dad, that's the only thing that was making me think something's not right here. But they showed him in a whole nother place. He was nowhere around. Yes. That was in Kenya when she was on one of her mission trips. She was, what's that called? Inspiration. Baby. What are those people called that tell stories, like motivational speaker? Never mind, I got it. She was letting them know about something she had went through. And she did say that she put the gun in her mouth and pulled the trigger and the gun didn't fire. So she was that serious about unaliving herself at certain moments. I mean, I guess that's true. Simply Rockstar didn't think about it like that. Some of her stuff was in Kenya. Yeah. Yeah, he could have had help too, Spitfire. I hope they really do look further into it. I'm not confident enough that he had anything to do with it to come on here and accuse him of being a murderer, but he's a piece of shit. I can say that. For now, that's really all I can say. And I think he contributed to it. If she did, in fact, unalive herself, he contributed to it. And that's just as bad to me. In the chest, 10. Women don't like to mess up their faces. Oh, her parents are getting a lawyer. That's good. So let's just hope that they get it figured out. I don't know. I don't know. Could he have made her call? Yeah, I thought about that too if he was there with her. But then there's a witness that was out there when it happened. Like he said, I don't know, take this with a grain of salt. But he said he heard crying and then a gunshot and then no more crying. And he went toward, he was fishing. He was in a boat fishing. And so he went towards the bank and he went up into the wood line a little bit and he seen like a tote bag, some sunglasses, and something else sitting all together on the side. But she wasn't in sight. So he took the tote bag, the sunglasses, and whatever else it was, and took it to, well, went to go to the, I guess, like the main booth of the national park, the state park, not national park, the state park. And the police were there. And he told them what he had just witnessed. And they said that it was her and that she had shot herself. Yes, this is I don't know how true it is. I'm assuming it's pretty true considering he talked to law enforcement, but so this is her leaving her house that morning. Let's see. This is just her going down the road. This is her at a gas station. They said she bought gas and a drink. This is her outside of Dick's Sporting Goods. This is her walking over here on the left circle. And that's her car right there on the right circle. This is her checking out, buying the gun. As you see, the gun, I mean, and she's smiling. It just really goes to show you never know what's going on in people's minds. And that people battle stuff like this daily, minute by minute, without anybody even knowing. And it's so sad. I'm sure she knew she had people she could talk to. But I think once you get so far along in your mind and your thought process, like, you convince yourself that it's what's needed. I don't know. It's so fucking terrible. And this is her going in. It's just sad, man. This is her phone. She dropped a pin at Dick's. Oh, it wasn't Dick's Sporting Good. It's Dick's Pawn Superstore. Okay. I thought it was Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's got some sports and goods for ya. I'm missing something here. Uh-oh. Let me go in on my phone and upload it because I'm missing one. And then I'll read to you what they said. Savagna da Bistira. Zoom away. Is that the words? I don't know. Baby, will you bring me a drink? Thank you. All right, let's see. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Let me come over here and see what you guys are saying before I read this. Oh Lord, Steph B, he is cut off. Did somebody say? Hold up. Thank you, baby. Did hubby say Nancy Grace? Just so y'all know, that is only a live inclusive because I have to edit it out of every single one of my lives I do because of the song. I think that's the one. Maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Oh, okay. So let me read these to y'all. You know it's hard out here for a pimp. All right. So the Robeson County Sheriff's Office, a death investigation that has tugged on the hearts of people across the nation, has been ruled a suicide. The decision was based on surveillance footage, interviews, physical evidence, and the examination of the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office. On Saturday, April 27th, 2024, at approximately 2:54 p.m., Robeson County 911 Communications Center received a 911 call from a female. The caller asked the dispatcher if her phone could be located because she was going to kill herself and wanted her family to be able to find her body. During the conversation with the dispatcher, the caller hung up the phone and the dispatcher was unable to contact the caller. The dispatcher was able to find the location of the caller and dispatched a deputy to the location. The deputies contacted the Lumber. Is it Lumber or Lumber? The deputies contacted the Lumber River State Park superintendent upon their arrival at Lumber River State Park in Orem, North Carolina. The deputies and state park rangers conducted a search of the area for the victim. The search was aided by a Robeson County Sheriff's Office drone. Let me hide your comments, Steph, because it's in the way, girl. It's in the way. Oh, Southern gal, thank you. Thank you so much, babe. I appreciate you. During the investigation, a black Honda Accord with a South Carolina registration was located in the parking lot at the state park. The investigation confirmed that the vehicle belonged to Micah Miller. Is it Micah or Mica? I've heard people call her name both. I'm going to go with Micah. 30 of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Investigators located a Sig Sauer gun. Hold on, I got to go to the next one. I think it was her car. I don't know. It's not showing it for some reason. I guess I clipped that part out. Investigators also found a receipt for the Sig Sauer handgun from a pawn shop and a receipt from a convenience store in the vehicle. Okay, so the gun was found. I'm confused. So was the gun? No, because the gun was with her and she wasn't in the car, I don't think. No. So they're probably saying the gun case was in the car. And then it says investigators also found a receipt for the gun from a pawn shop and a receipt from a convenience store in the vehicle. Both receipts were dated for the same day of Miller's death, which was April 27th, 2024. During the search of the park for the 911 caller, investigators were approached by an individual. Oh, this is the guy. This is the guy I was just telling y'all about. They were approached by an individual who had found a bag near the water edge with an identification belonging to Miller. The individual stated that he heard someone crying and a gunshot while he was fishing. Law enforcement continued the search, and 911 received a call from an individual who stated that a body was located in the water. Law enforcement responded to the location and contacted the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office upon locating the deceased. The victim was identified as Micah Miller. A 9mm handgun was located in the water at the crime scene during the search of the area. The serial number on the weapon matched the gun box that was found in Miller's Honda Accord. Okay, so it was the gun box that was found in the Honda. Okay, during the investigation, Miller's phone and other personal belongings were located. A search of Miller's phone revealed that she conducted a Google search for national parks near me, and the Lumber River State Park location, I can't see, was provided. The investigation also revealed that Miller and her estranged husband, John Paul Miller, had been separated and were involved in the legal system. This information led to the investigators confirming the whereabouts of Miller and a female that he is. See, so he was out taunting the town with his little tramp. Allegedly romantically involved with. Investigators were able to confirm that both individuals were not in North Carolina on the night before and the day of Miller's death. Investigators learned through interviews that John Paul Miller was at an athletic event in Charleston on the day of Micah Miller's death. John Miller's vehicle was observed traveling on Highway 17 bypass in Horry County at 2:22 p.m. on April 27th, 2024. The investigation confirmed that John Miller was accompanied while traveling to and from the event in Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, accompanied by that slut. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, Queen Bella, that's what I'm saying. Like, you see things differently when you're in that dark, deep of a space. I would assume. I've never been in that mindset, but I could see how it would be easy to feel like that's the best decision. It went back to a retired officer. What? I think I seen something. Look, let's play her 911 call, and I'll go see if I can find, because I could have swore on Twitter a minute ago, while I let this play, I'll go see if I can find it, that he did interview telling what he had heard. All right, so let's, trigger warning, it's hard to hear. It's not much, but it's a woman. It's a woman deciding to end her life. It's hard. It's hard to know that.
Robinson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing. Hold on 1 second. I don't think you are in Robeson County. Yeah, the Lumber River State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
And that's the end of it. We'll play it one more time.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
And National Park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655.
I know, it's so sad. I agree, Genevieve.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff.
Please take care of yourself, Queen Bella. I know it's hard.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone.
Everyone take care of themselves.
Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing, hold on 1 second.
Absolutely, Okie. Absolutely. Thank you, Steph B. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is being
I
dropped
don't
in the
think
chat.
you are in Robeson County. Yeah, the Lumber River State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
That's so heartbreaking. Please know that if you're feeling like that, there are people that can help you. It's not necessarily the way out. Ugh. You're not alone. It's so sad. I feel like he has something to do with it no matter what Simply Rockstar, because I believe he pushed her to this point. And I know people say you can't blame other people for your mental illness. Well, you can if somebody's already dealing with mental illness. The other person knows that and they continue to taunt, stalk, harass, all the above, drive her crazy is what it seems he was doing. That's right, Sin. You are so valuable no matter who you are or where. This is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Absolutely. You are loved and wanted by someone. Please don't give up. It's a lot. And I send prayers to her family. I believe the family has officially filed a lawsuit on JP, so we'll keep up with that. This is the eyewitness. I believe this is the same guy that found her bag and heard her crying.
What did you set out to do that day?
I just set out to go fishing like I regularly do. Set out to go fishing.
And it was
It's just an older dude out there fishing.
It was a normal day for you.
Normal day.
Did you feel any kind of way that day? Because lots of times when people say things happen, they feel some type of way throughout the day or something that.
Yes, Remy, if I'm not mistaken, when I'm done with this video, actually, I'll go look right now while this video is playing.
You know, something didn't feel right about the day or whatever. Let me make sure I'm recording. But did you feel any type of way that day?
No type of way different from any other time. No.
And you got out and you just started your fishing.
Started my fishing.
Good serene day?
Beautiful day, yeah.
Okay, and so you set up the river. And how long were you out here before you started to hear? I think you said you started to hear some faint sound.
Well, I got here about 11:30 that morning. I started fishing.
Okay, 11:30.
As I had decided that I was going to quit fishing, I came back through. I stopped at what they call a slough or a lake in the river. It's just a lake off of the river. So I pulled in there with my little boat. And maybe 5 minutes after getting into the slough, I heard a cry, a faint cry.
What time was that?
Probably around 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
It was broad daylight. Broad daylight. But anyway, I just kept hearing the cry.
Was it down here or was it when you got in there?
It was when I got inside of the lake. Yeah.
You heard a faint cry.
Heard it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Then I stopped. I heard a gunshot. And then the crying stopped. And I said to myself, "Oh my God, I heard that's not what I think's happened." So there was another couple came in on a boat, and I asked them. They came in there because they heard the shot, and I asked them, "Did they hear the shot?" They said yes. I said, "Well, I heard a crying also." And then I heard a gunshot, and the crying stopped. So I was going to leave, but I happened to look at the end of the lake, and there was a little opening that would take me to the back of that. So I decided just to go in there with my boat. And when I did that, that's when I found Micah's belongings laying up on the bank. So I got out of my boat, picked the belongings up, looked at them, put her cell phone was laying outside of the bag, and her glasses also. I picked those up, put them in the bag, looked around a little bit, got back into my boat, came back to the landing, loaded it up. I left out. The law was there. I stopped and talked with the law, asked them, did they know a Micah Miller? He said, "How do you know Micah Miller?" I said, "Oh, wait a minute now." I said, "I found her belongings."
It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it is. Listen, we got to find the humor in these terrible situations. But when he said, do you know who Micah Miller is? And that cop asked him, well, how do you know Micah Miller? He said, oh, hold up now. He didn't want no parts of anything.
Asked them, did they know a Micah Miller? He said, how do you know Micah Miller? I said, oh, wait a minute now. I said, I found her belongings. And I told him my story, about hearing the crying and hearing the gunshot and the crying stop. So he said, well, get out and talk to me for a minute. So I talked to him, and like I said, I told him my story. That's when he told me that, yes, there has been apparently a suicide happened at the river. I said, oh, man, don't tell me that. But anyway, I said, well, how did y'all know? How did you know that it is? He told me that Micah had called 911, told them she was getting ready to commit suicide, where she was at, and that she wanted.
That's
the
exactly.
She was calling them to tell them that she didn't want.
It was the way he said, whoa, hold on now, because that's exactly what he thought. He was like, this ain't getting pinned on me.
Her parents worrying about her, where she would be at. If they could go ahead and find her.
Good night, Burden.
Keep talking. I just want to, I'm going to put my camera on your hands, not your.
That's true, Genevieve.
I'm not going to put your face. Just stay where you are. Okay.
I can too, Southern gal. He didn't want it to come back on him, and he knew it very well could.
I'll zoom in. Okay. It's only your hands, okay? All right.
I'm good, but I'm not worried about it. I just don't really want to be. I'm good.
I'm not putting you on your face. Okay?
I know.
And so when he told you,
it does.
You said he told you that it was Micah.
Okay. Apparently, suicide. That's why they were here.
Okay. And then is that when you gave him the belongings?
Yes, gave him the belongings. Mm-hmm. He laid them up on his truck. They laid everything out on the truck.
Now, you said that you talked particularly about you actually went in and saw everything when you found the belongings. And you say it was specific things that she had in there, like her license, all those things. Like she had what were all the things that was in her bag?
I didn't really look at that until I came back and loaded my boat up.
Right.
That's when I really looked into it. And that's when I seen she had her license, her bank card. She had her keys in the bag. She had a little small Bible, all of her credit cards, the bank cards, a few receipts of some things.
That's so sad.
I'm showing like the bottom of your feet. Since you don't want nobody to see your face. And so then I'm not gonna show your face, okay? So you found all her belongings and then you turned them over. Well, no, I'm backtracking and going back. So after all this that took place and you talked to authorities, you told them, you gave them what they needed. You just left?
They just let me go. They told me they didn't need me any longer.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So it was they just took your word for what happened.
Took my word for what happened.
And you talked to the guy who, you said that you kind of told them where to go to look for the, where you heard the sound, but it was the other guy that told them that found her, right?
Yeah, the other guy actually found her. That was in the lake with
one of the guys that was in the lake fishing with them, like a different dude, a different boat, all of that.
Ranger was in the midst of all this, talking with the laws, and I asked the park ranger, I said, do you know every path that's coming in and out of this river, even to the slough that I was at? He said, yes, I do. I said, will you go to that path?
That's a good question, Genevieve. Did she go into the water, or was she on the very edge and fell into the water? I would think she was on the very edge and fell into the water, because I feel like if she would have walked out into the water and done it, she would have floated away. You see what I'm saying? And they might not have. I'm good, baby. I don't want it. It's just taking up space. I don't want it. They would have had more trouble finding the gun if she had walked out into the water and done it, because she would have done it, the gun would have fell, sunk to the bottom, she would have floated off a little bit. So where they found her is not where they would have found the gun. I think she did it on the edge and the gun fell right there at the water's edge.
That's where you might find someone or Michael.
And then when they went there, that's when they found it.
It wasn't 20 minutes later.
And you was here when that happened?
I was here.
I think she just wanted to be at the water's edge. Like, she was making peace with everything, making peace with herself. He said she was crying, so she was probably grieving the fact that her family would be grieving her. Does that make sense? Like, thinking about all the things that her family may go through because of her actions. I don't know. There's a lot to be crying about if you're in that deep of a space, you know? She could have been crying about everything. She could have been crying because she was finally relieved to have made this decision. Really, she could have been crying about anything.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. What kind of emotion came over you then, like in your head?
Yeah, she was just recently baptized again.
I was sick on the stomach. I just feel like I know this young lady because of what I had to go through.
Well, he did hear her. He heard her crying. That's what he's talking about on this interview. He heard her crying, and then, but she was like off in like a little split river stream thing. So this is the main river we're looking at. Just imagine over there on the side, on the bank, there's like a little stream pathway where the river forks off into little streams. She was back there at one of those. And he heard her crying. He heard the gunshot. And then no more crying. So then he went over that direction. He found her belongings on the bank, looked around and didn't see her. So that makes me think she put her belongings in one spot on the water's edge and she walked down to another spot.
You know, to witness this or to see this or to hear this or whatever. But God, there's a lot of emotions. I had never been in the middle of something like this, you know.
Right.
I'm still till this day being bothered by it because all I hear is her crying in my ear all the time.
Right.
Wondering what if I could have made a change, you know, if I'd have just would have.
No, she was not all the way in the water.
And for the record, I could not see nothing because it was so thick. From where I was at, I could not see because the woods were so thick. I could not see anybody. And around here, around Robinson County, you just don't run in on somebody. Run in on somebody and check on them because you don't ever know what's going on. I felt like something was wrong, but I wasn't going in there to check, you know, for fear of my.
That's so sad.
Right. And it's ironically, it's mental health awareness month. And of course, we know that today was a day that authorities did say that it was apparent she did die from a gunshot wound. This is what officially they said. It was official suicide. Just you being in that experience.
Me too, Genevieve.
What can you say to, the community and the public if
I think she
that you
left her things around the area, but like he just said, it's so thick back there. Like he's seen the things, but he didn't see anything else.
That they should be aware of if they ever come into situations like this, because people are struggling mentally and sometimes you just don't know. Was there something specific that you feel like was a telltale sign that this is a little bit more than just, somebody having a bad day?
As far as the situation that I was in, I really don't know what to say. Like I said, all I can tell you is what I know, what I wished I would have done. it's always good, yes, to check and see what's going on. But like I say, in the case that I was in, it was sort of dangerous for me.
And see, he's going to deal with that for the rest of his life. He's going to deal with that. And he shouldn't feel any remorse. There's a reason, whether it be God, the universe, whatever the powers may be, there was a reason he decided not to go back there.
You know, just to go in and check on someone like that. I mean, that's all I can tell you about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I felt like something was wrong, but I just couldn't check where I wouldn't be able to see my surroundings around me. And like I said, if it would have been a person out there crying in the open where I could see them, I was checked on them all day long. Yeah. But yes, I mean, I just wished I could have went in there and checked on them.
So what about you? So many people in the world going through so many different things. You just came out to fish one day and your life has changed. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do to help you now? Because now this is something that you have to try to get past. What are you
Me too, Mom.
What are you going to do for you? And then what do you want to add to this that you want people to know?
I really don't know how. I'm just going to have faith in the Lord, get me through this, because it's changed my life actually. It's just going to take time for me, as far as this situation.
And what do you want people to know? There's been a lot of talk. You've been going through a whole lot of backlash on social media. What is it that you want to add to this and you want people to know? From Mr. Johnny Jacobs, the man everybody's been
Kendra
whispering about. What is it that you would like to leave with people and you want them to know?
No, I'd like to know everybody that I had nothing to do with this. If anybody that knows me, if I could have got involved and helped this young lady, that I would have done it. But I was just put in a circumstance where that couldn't have happened, But it's just sad.
And what do you want to say to the family? I know you talked to them. What do you want to say again to them?
No, Mama.
I'm just sorry for what's happened with Micah. Everything that I've been researching on her, she was just seemed to be a wonderful person. Everybody that I've talked to, as far as in it, she just seemed to be a wonderful person.
Yeah, I heard he was getting a little bit of backlash, but I haven't really dove into it because it was cut off so quickly. But I did hear that he got a little bit of backlash when he first came out about hearing her cry and then hearing the gunshot.
A God-loving person.
They tried to make it seem like he might have had something to do with it.
And you can just feel that from what you've seen on social media and everything.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
That's it. I'm through.
He took the time to go and look her up and get to know her the best he could. I mean, I think that's such a genuine person, and he's going to deal with the what ifs or the why didn't I's for the rest of his life. So he's been impacted. That 911 dispatcher has definitely been impacted. The family, it's all so terrible. I don't know much. I can't say this is, I would say take this with a grain of salt because I don't know who Robbie Harvey is. But they said, according to his source, Micah Miller's family has filed a lawsuit against J.P. Miller. I'm assuming it would be a wrongful death. He also said if they have the evidence, they can If they have the evidence, they can say he drove her to it. There are several cases similar with such results. She said, do you know what kind of lawsuit? Oh, I thought maybe hold on. Do you know what kind of lawsuit? Says the family filed a suit a few days ago seeking to be the administrator of her estate and not the husband. I remember that, but I think they're saying there's a new lawsuit. If they can prove she was driven to suicide by him, perhaps, but that I recall the only case I heard that it went through and the person was charged was this young woman that consistently told her boyfriend to kill himself, and he did. Do y'all remember that? The two young, I think they were teens, and they were broke up, I think, but the ex-girlfriend kept, like, she was still playing with his mind and his heart, and she literally talked him into getting in his truck and unaliving himself. So I'll keep an eye on that to see what's going on with the lawsuit. But just keep them in your hearts, your prayers, send them all the good vibes and good energy. And let's just hope she's at peace now. Because it seems like she was really, really struggling. Yeah, Evil Queen. They were in high school. She was convicted. Yeah, they convicted her. Yes. Isn't that crazy? I was just telling my kid about that the other day because he's got friends that have all kinds of problems. And I was like, listen, like, don't you let nobody talk you into doing nothing. It is hard to keep faith in humanity. I'm sorry if y'all hear my husband. He's in there fussing at his game. And in terms of, we're going to segue over to Sebastian Rogers. In terms of Sebastian and the photo, they said that it is not. After coordinated efforts with law enforcement agencies in North Carolina, I know y'all have probably already seen this, but I just wanted to touch on it with you guys. They have determined that the child depicted in the photograph is not Sebastian Rogers. I still have questions. Listen, I still have questions. My number one question is, well, why didn't somebody who was in that photo come out and say, no, that's me? The giant forehead girl. She did have a huge forehead. Micah did not have any kids. Yeah, he's suffering with his allergies. Thank you, baby. I know. Me too. They did find the parents and the boy that was in the photo. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then it's not him. Which is kind of disappointing. Because at least if it was him, it was signs of life, you know? What do y'all think about Seth hiring this Tony Mathis? Listen, I know Tony Mathis has a past from many years ago, but I don't think it's a terrible thing he hired this dude. Me too, Kendra. I've taken 2 weeks off because, well, not just because of Sebastian, but it gets overwhelming. And then I got sick, and I was just like, because of the chaos around Sebastian, I didn't even try to force myself to do YouTube. Like, I literally binge watched movies and TV. I stayed off of YouTube. Not my Tony, no. I think it's good. This guy's just there to tell him to shut the fuck up, I feel. The Nancy Grace interview. Excuse me, oh my God. Did somebody say Nancy Grace? Aunt Nancy. Which interview are you talking about? The one where she asked about the what you call it? Damn. Oh, the polygraph. Yeah, y'all want to watch it? Here, we'll watch it.
We all remember that moment when I put Sebastian's father, Seth, on the hot seat on national TV and asked him, would he be willing to take a polygraph? He said yes. He did take a polygraph. Straight back out to Seth Rogers. Joining us is Sebastian's father. And now joining us is a renowned polygrapher, Kendall Schule, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C., former special agent with the FBI in D.C. He is at Kendall Investigations. Also joining us, Tony Mathis, who is
Don't tell me that,
Seth.
Steph. Do not tell me that. Now I'm going to not be able to focus on anything but that. Fuck.
Rogers, as he walks this very, very rocky path. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. This is a yes, no, Kendall Schule. Did Seth Rogers pass his polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Which one, Aunt Nancy? Because I think they gave him another one. Because why in the hell has it taken a month for you to drop that Seth passed that polygraph? I'm telling you, something ain't right about this. Something ain't right. Something ain't right.
Okay, Seth Rogers, tell me about going and taking the polygraph. We want to hear every single word because I've got a stack of nasty.
And don't forget to tell them, don't forget to tell Aunt Nancy that you told YouTubers you fell asleep during it. Don't forget that part.
Online posts about you failing, about you not going, blah, blah, blah. A lot of trolls chiming in.
Ooh, you got busted, Nancy. You done gave him another polygraph, or either y'all are lying about the polygraph he took. He done come out and said he went to sleep during the polygraph. Now, does that mean he failed? No, but it means he didn't pass with flying colors if he's sleeping. Hello?
Let's get to the truth of that polygraph. Seth, what happened?
I showed up early for the polygraph. Mr. Kendall contacted me.
No, I don't think Seth's involved. I don't think any of them's involved, honestly. It would suck to find out that any of them was involved. What I will say is I don't like any of them, but I feel bad for all of them. Seth has ran his fucking mouth way too much. He has exploited his own child. That is one thing I can say for Katie and Chris that they did not do. They did not exploit their own child. So you can say I'm bashing Seth. You can say I'm attacking Seth. I pity Seth. I feel bad for him. I gave that grace because he's a father of a missing child who doesn't know how to handle this situation, who doesn't know what he's getting himself into with YouTube. I gave that grace, but that grace, that shit ended when he came out about the SA on Sebastian. Fuck that. Nobody needed to know that. You didn't need to do that. You're constantly trying to take digs. I'm glad you got this PR guy so you can finally shut the fuck up and sit down.
Me and told me that he'd
Sorry, I needed to get that off my chest.
be there well before the time that we had stated. So I showed up and I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
And what kind of questions did the polygrapher Kendall Schewel ask you?
If I had ever wanted to harm anybody, if I ever wanted to hurt my son, if I had ever hurt my son, if I'd ever had anything.
Well, I would hope, and I try to ask myself that question too, Steph B. I would hope I would know better than to just tell everything. Why would you just tell these random YouTubers everything? I just don't get it. Like, why not follow the lead, right? The lead is what TBI has told you to do, which is stop. There's no sense in giving too much information. Like, we need to work this case. That's what he should have done. He should have kept his ass out in the woods looking for his son and spending less time on YouTube talking shit. He likes the attention. He likes the pity. I'm glad he's taking his ass back to work. He could have been done, took his ass back to work, and on the side been arranging like maybe some search parties, and on the side taking the time to plan search parties and where to go and what to look for and what area. I don't know.
Do with his disappearance.
Question. You said they hooked you up. What do you mean by that, Seth Rogers?
I get it, y'all. I get it. I know. But desperate. I get it, Steph. I really do. But I don't know. My patience has only went so far with Seth. Just because I feel like every moment he's had to take a dig at Chris, he's done it. And I don't feel like it's over Sebastian. I don't feel like it's because Chris popped Sebastian with the belt. I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think it's everything to do with Katie. Everything to do with the girl that he groomed, in my opinion, allegedly.
They put things on my hands. They wrapped cords around me. They had a blood pressure cuff on me to measure my blood pressure and measure my heart.
Well, supposedly it's went to his private investigators and his bills, because he still has utility bills and rent or mortgage. He still has those things he has to pay for. Like, just because your son goes missing, that doesn't mean everything else in the world stops around you. And I get that. But I don't know. It's time to go back to work. So I'm glad for him. He needs to get back some normalcy in his life. I know that would be hard to do. Like, if I was to put myself in his position, I don't think I could go back to work. But I think him going back to work will keep him a little more busy and keep him off YouTube. That's what I think.
Heart rate, my breathing rate, things like that.
How long did it take?
It took a minute.
It took 60 seconds. Could you be precise or more precise? How long do you think it took?
We were there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's about right. It's not easy. Okay, sit tight, Seth. And again, thank you for being with us. Out to Kendall Schule, as I told you, former head of the entire FBI.
Yeah, because they don't make much, Genevieve.
Polygraph program in D.C. Kendall, thank you. When we put out the word
he
that
didn't.
Seth Rogers would take a polygraph, we contacted you because of your reputation. You quickly agreed.
Yeah,
and
he's
I thank you
going
for
back to
that.
work.
Again, this was not free. He was
think they said
paid to
next
do the
week.
polygraph. He owes nothing to anybody and therefore was not swayed one way or the other.
Jeanette, it's not hate on Seth. It's just my opinions of Seth. I don't have very many opinions of Chris and Katie because they have shut the fuck up. The little bit that Chris has come out and spoke, I've seen a few things wrong with things he said, but for the most part, I agree with him. I think that the most endearing conversation that has been had on this platform about Sebastian was on Cluminati's channel. And let me get the link for y'all for anybody who may have missed it. On Cluminati's channel, he came on at the end of her live stream and he just sat there talking with her fiance for like an hour. And it literally, maybe longer, it might have been like 2 hours actually. It literally was the nicest conversation I've heard pertaining to Sebastian. He talked about what Sebastian was like. He talked about the good things about Sebastian. I haven't heard that from anybody but Chris. And I think that's because Katie's not talking. And Katie shouldn't talk. Because anything she says, anything she does is going to be picked at and picked at and picked at with a fine-tooth comb. And it's going to go nowhere. It's going to go nowhere but down for her. And it's not worth it. Seth, I feel sorry for him. I feel like he was lost in the sauce and didn't know what to do. And he was taken advantage of by these true crime creators. I can't even say true crime creators. Let me back that up. He was taken advantage of by these trauma creators because they just fished and fished and fished for the raunchiest, weirdest details they could get.
The other, he had never met Seth Rogers before in his life. Mr. Schule, I've looked very carefully at your polygraph report right here. Number one, you start off by saying it was conducted using a comparison question format.
And I don't agree with everything Cluminati says because she goes really hard at Seth. And I feel too bad for him to go really hard at him. But I do think he's over his head in this situation. I think because of his grief, he's not making the right decisions. And I think he should have had somebody to help him along in this process from the beginning so that some of these details that are out now would have never been even mentioned. So as for me, I'm grateful for the PR guy, if that's what he is. I'm just grateful he's helping guide Seth on these interviews and, you know, who to talk to and the details that need to be known. I'm grateful for that. It should have been happening from the beginning.
That meets U.S. government standards. What is a
Hey,
comparison
KCG.
question format? What is that?
It's a format.
Did somebody say Nancy There she goes.
It's well accepted by the polygraph community, particularly the American Polygraph Association. There are certain formats that we can use that are more acceptable, that we know are more reliable. And this was one of those, certainly a test format that I would want to use to make sure we're doing everything right to get the correct results. And this is again a format of polygraph that is widely
I will, Queen
accepted
Bella.
as a standard in the FBI world and in the polygraph world in general.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
This was
Genevieve with Seth is I feel like because he was so lost and confused and tricked and bamboozled, all of the above, he caused so much chaos with the things he was saying and alluding to and playing the games with these YouTube creators like, oh, you're not asking the right questions. That's not necessary when your child's missing. It just added to the chaos and Sebastian was lost in it. And it sucks. Why did it bring me here? Lord have mercy. The Cluminati link I'm putting in the chat. I would go watch it. It's more towards the end of the stream. Here, let me see. I'm going to try to get a timestamp. Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to find the. I'm trying to find because. Oh my God. So about 3 hours and 15 minutes in is when the conversation starts. God, they talk for like 3 hours. Oh my gosh. Oh, thanks for renewing, Steph. Yeah, they still continue to protect Seth. And I don't think that's up to Katie. I think that she probably despises Seth, that she doesn't talk to him. She doesn't interact with him really too much about Sebastian. It's always been Chris and him. And I think it's because she's kind of grossed out by him. And that's okay. Like, that happens. I know, wasn't it precious? Oh, Evil Queen Yaya, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Hippie Hut. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, Steph B. Thank you, baby. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, baby. I think, because he knew her when she was so young, and then they ended up being together as she grew up. By the time she was finally by the time her brain was finally fully developed at the age of 25, 26, she probably realized, holy fuck, like the way I have come into this situation with him is not right per se. And it probably, just messed her up a little bit. Can we see George twerk? We absolutely can, my poor little baby.
Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Move that ass. Let the right go work that ass. Twerk that ass. Come on. Twerk that ass. Come on.
No, she doesn't, Genevieve. There's been several things Seth has said that she has not corrected or responded to. The only thing she has responded to was when he dropped that news about the essay. And I felt her. Her mama heart was like, are you fucking kidding me? Hey, country. Yes, she is taking good care of my George. Yes. That's definitely discretion advised. Southern Gal said, y'all watch Clue, but when you watch Clue, just keep in mind, she has met Seth in person and she is local to the area. She isn't for everyone. She speaks her mind for sure. She does. She does not fuck with Seth. She doesn't like Seth. And it was actually the opposite in the beginning. She was more thinking, excuse me. She was more thinking Chris and Katie had something to do with it, or something wasn't right with Chris and Katie. But the more Seth talked, the more things didn't add up, the more things seemed strange. Listen, I'm suspect of all three of them just because there is still no Sebastian. But I also pity all three of them and feel sorry for them. And I mourn for them. I pray for them nightly. And I just hope that, I personally feel like Sebastian is still alive. I don't know why. I don't know what it is that's making me feel that way, but I do. And I also think it has something to do, my theory. Now remember, this is my speculation, my theory. It's not an irresponsible theory to put out like some of these folks be doing. My theory is that it does have something to do with online gaming. There was something else I was going to point out about Sebastian's case. Let's see. Mr. Pissy Pants. Now, I listened. You can see I only listened to probably like 30 minutes of that live. 45 minutes of this live. I was trying to figure out who is he calling Mr. Pissy Pants. He explains it in the live, but I can't remember who and why he said that. So we'll go through it really quick and see. But also it says, say no to Tony Browse. Bro, just because.
This is a big red.
That's just because he is here to help Seth realize who to talk to and who not to talk to. Dolly is not happy about it. Brooks at Crime Lines and Lies is not happy about it. There's several people not happy about this PR guy. Bro, get over it. I'm glad he's shutting up. Y'all are mad he's shutting up. What kind of sense does that make? Him shutting up is best for Sebastian in this moment.
hinges on that picture from Grandfather Mountain. Okay. Now, Dolly, a lot of people out there seem to think, hey, this is the boy they've been screaming to the rooftops that this is Sebastian Rogers. But you know, you want Dolly here. I'm like, I don't think that's him. I really don't. And once this picture came out, it kind of flipped the game on its head. Seth didn't know.
And see, that's what I couldn't remember. Was he talking about Chris? And I think that's where I got confused, Queen Bella, is because the arrow is pointing at Sebastian.
What to do? The PR people were like, okay, it's not foul play. This kid is off somewhere.
Sure
And
does.
Seth has picked up this PR guy that has no experience in being a PR, a PI, maybe a POS. He might have a little bit more experience.
You're good.
Okay. Now he was like, if he came out and said, yo, I'm Seth's POS, I'd be like, okay. But the PR thing, I think he's misspelling stuff. Okay. So basically, you know, I haven't watched what he does on YouTube because I felt I don't support this stuff. And already it looks like a bunch of YouTubers are jumping ship on it already. Well, some of the bigger ones, they're just not, you know, because what? We don't want secondhand information. But he did do News Nation and Seth was there with him. If Seth ain't speaking, I don't want to hear it, cover it. I'm Team Sebastian.
Yeah, so you're down with him being irresponsible with the things he says. Why? Because when he's irresponsible and dirty and low down with the things he says, it creates drama. It creates drama for you.
Okay, nothing else. Okay, and this shit, you can't pick a side. You got to be Team Sebastian because there's a lot of stuff going on and it just seems a little bit strange. Now, if that is him at Grandfather Mountain, somebody's had to pass this kid off, right? Did Katie pass him off to somebody? Now, I am going to tell you this. You know, the family, Katie's family, lives right around the area of me. So yesterday, we did a little bit of snooping, just a little bit of checking some places out, some locations, what's going on at these locations, just a little scout trip, okay? Nothing. We ain't made our moves yet. We've just done a little bit of scouting in the situation because you never know, this boy could be here, right here in Virginia, in my area. So it'd be kind of stupid not to take a look around, okay, and figure out what the hell is going on. And
what he's alluding to is visiting around Katie's biological mother's house.
Who's around? You know, just who's around me.
Katie ain't even got nothing to do with her.
It's time to get to know my neighbors a little bit. Is what I'm thinking. It's time to get to know my neighbors. So I was just out checking out the neighborhood, you know, because, you know, it's been a while since I went just strolling through my own neighborhood. And, you know, when I seen these people's records, I was thinking, hey, they got to live in some trailer park somewhere around here in this area, you know, right in my general area. And I'm thinking to myself, no, no, even though they got these bad criminal records, you think they're terrible people, they got a pretty nice ass house too. One thing about these people, they got nice ass houses. Okay, I'm a little bit jealous. I had to be honest with you. But I didn't see the kid. That's what I was going to tell y'all. I didn't see Sebastian. But don't think I didn't look. Okay, because you know, I was just joking with it about PJ. I was like, PJ, you know, if we break this corner and the little boy's standing out here, what are we going to do? You know, I ain't saying that's going to happen.
Call
I'm saying anything in this world is possible. You know, we are where his family's at. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to be the, you know, what are we going to do? You know, kind of, you know, immediately call the authorities. You know, what's the game plan if we break this corner and this kid's outside, or they're outside with him, or any of these things.
But for me, it wasn't the Wells. For me, it was Quentin Simon. He said he learned his lesson. He never, excuse me, he never wanted to go back into something like that. He never wanted to do that again. But then when the views started coming in for Madeline Soto, he got carried away, and it's just went from there. And I've kind of just been done.
But I didn't see him. You know, but you know, I still haven't got out to put the flyers in that area. And let me tell you, there is no flyers in that area, and there's going to be. That is for sure. We're definitely going to flyer the area.
Why couldn't you have done that the other day
around
when
that
you were
area?
there?
Know that this little boy's missing, because I can tell you now, ain't nobody around this bitch know he missing. I can tell you that firsthand. And the area is a pretty nice area. You know, I don't think nobody's gonna have a problem. I'm happy to see this little kid. Family. Where's her family going? This kid to me would be great.
I'm looking for the pissy pants.
He really has
thing.
tunnel vision. He's just seeing, I think this is my kid, and he's forgetting everything. To being stuck on the pee mattress. Sebastian voted out. But I think someone he knows picked him up. He deserves better treatment.
Can we bring up the pee mattress? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. The mattress wasn't even brought in until after Sebastian went missing.
We're going to go into this whole conversation about how this little boy was being treated in just a second. I just wanted to give the latest updates of what's been going on until we get into that. I mean, basically, you know, they're now, this dude, this PR guy, this whatever, I hear he's a convicted felon. Allegedly, okay? I don't know. I haven't pulled a guy's criminal record or nothing like that, but there's other YouTubers, investigators out here saying, hey, this dude's writing bad checks. He's a convicted felon. The police ain't.
He did. He did. Not that he's currently doing these things, that he did these things 20 plus years ago.
Going to work with him like they were PIs. And I'm just thinking, what a damn nightmare. You know, you bring this in and then it turns into
I agree.
The answers lie in that house.
I don't know. He did slow down a little after Quentin because the thumbnails weren't as clickbaity. He was more focused on like Turtle Island and the panel channel that he had going, and Paper Cut Tina being his co-host for a little while. He was more focused on like his merch and his soap and shit. Like, it was really, it was just until the next big case came along.
This child. And now Seth won't address it. We had this thing burning.
Yeah, Genevieve, 5 hours later.
Destroy each other and tell on each other. Now we get this weirdo come in. He's trying to stifle that. You know, and here's the thing. It's all lies because he spoke with Chris Proudfoot, and Chris Proudfoot told him, if you can reel Seth back in, you know, I'll work with you. So the only way he can do this is to control Seth. All right. Now, if you control Seth.
Yeah, because Seth needs to be controlled. He's spitting out things that don't matter. He's spitting out things that doesn't help find Sebastian. That has nothing to do with Sebastian going missing. He's spitting out things that gives you guys content to run with.
That is fake. You know, let's get the button-up shirt on. Let's just be fake as shit. Nobody on the internet really wants fake. Okay, I think everybody rallied around Seth because Seth was so genuine and he was out there searching, working his ass off. Now it seems like he's went in a different direction. He's bringing in these, like, what I would think is a damn tragedy leech. Okay, and with no experience at that. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Now, a lot of people are saying that this neighbor is not credible. Even that weirdo dude, he tries to, oh, well, that's, you know, that's, we don't know if that's true. Well, the neighbor seemed pretty legit. They talked to Sebastian like shit. Just deal with it. It'll be a little bit longer and you'll be coming to live with me. Seth knew they were talking to him like this. Pissy mattress in the garage in the wintertime and live with me. His son was being treated. Anybody remember when Sebastian like shit? He knew. Seth knew.
Who said they treated Sebastian like shit? Y'all are running off of rumors, speculation, crazy ideas. Like, and see, this is where I have a problem with Dolly, is because he states things as if they're facts. Nobody knows that Sebastian was treated like shit. He looked like he had a pretty good life.
Knew how his son was being treated. Anybody remember when Seth told him, he said, well, just deal with it. It'll be a little bit longer and you'll be coming to live with me. Seth knew they were talking to him like this. Now they're calling him the Riri and spraying him with water and making him sleep in a pissy mattress in the garage in the wintertime and whipping a kid that ain't yours. How? Listen, I would say there's abuse in the house with just a whipping. All right, that's a stepdad throwing his toys away, throwing his underwear away, whipping that kid when he's not your child. That is abuse. Your ass should be in jail. Okay, man law says something else should happen to you. But look, I'll go with society. Your ass should be in jail. Okay, you should be in jail for the abuse of that child. Let me tell you something, Katie. You're lucky you ain't here where your parents were, because you would be in jail for child neglect. Your kid's gone. You don't know where he's at. You're responsible for that child. That is the definition of child neglect. Felony child neglect. Your ass would be sitting in jail with no bond here. Okay, thank God you in the backwoods of Tennessee, or both of your asses would be locked up. And I know that. Okay, I know that for a fact. Anybody, you see my intro with Cody Bixby? You see my intro with Cody Bixby? That's how Virginia handles shit. Okay, that's how Virginia handles shit. They still don't know where that kid's at. But you know where his daddy's at? His daddy's ass is sitting in jail for second-degree murder. I was at his trial. Okay, you know what I hit him with? Where's the baby? Ask anybody.
His daddy
right?
confessed.
But that baby's never been found. Never. Still, people pretty much giving up, and that's a sad, sad thing. And this could happen in this case, right? You want to keep these cases in the front of everybody. You want people talking about them. Many people. The only reason mainstream media wants to cover it, it becomes here. Nothing more than glorified YouTubers at this point. Okay, let's be. The bigger it gets, the more they're going to at this point, all these thousands of views that everybody knows who Sebastian Rogers is. And let's see how many people say, but we need it bigger than that. Trying to show straight sword. Did you see the video JR posted of Chris Weirdfoot? Yes. I already have a picture of this dude in my mind. And
I'm trying to figure out the
now he acts like this is a joke. You know, listen to me. You got a missing kid, and you up on YouTube fucking prank calling people on voice changers. Right?
He is not prank.
And then you talk about these crazy theories people call in with, but you call in being silly and stupid, laughing like it's a game. I can understand me coming up here and telling a missing kid, ain't no trying to be joking, playing, trying to be silly. Nobody got your flirty, weird, creepy shit you do. Okay.
Oh my God.
Hey, you don't do that when you got a missing fucking kid. Sorry about that, phone guys. And some of this, you don't do that. When they ask you about your fucking son, your stepson, you say something positive, good about him. You don't tell him, man. He sounds
he
like
did
pants at school. That's why the title.
Oh, there it went. Look, I fast forwarded through it. Here you go, Dolly. Look, boo. Hold on. I got you, boo. You said that Chris should go on lives and say something positive about his child. Here you go, baby. And I know y'all know who Cluminati is because she said that PJ blocked her. Here you go, boo-boo. Here, y'all can take this link, go to about 3 hours and 15 minutes, and listen for the next 2 or 3 hours, and you will hear Chris Proudfoot talk nothing but good about that baby. I mean, it was like, it wasn't an interview. It was a normal fucking conversation he had with Cluminati's husband or fiance. It was genuine. It was a down-to-earth conversation. It was almost like they forgot they was even on a live. And it was good. It was a good conversation. And I've seen a few people go over it, but nothing like they have went over all the mayhem and the crazy ass interviews that Seth has done. Nothing compared. Like, how about y'all put this on Front Street? Put this interview on Front Street and then let people decide if they still feel the same. Here we go on the pissy pants comment.
Your ass out there and you search. When these prayer vigils come up, you go out there and you take parts in them. When they ask you about your fucking son, your stepson, you say something positive, good about him. You don't tell them they call him Mr. Pissy Pants at school. That's why the title says Mr. Pissy Pants.
Okay, so he's saying that kids at school call Sebastian Mr. Pissy Pants. So he puts Mr. Pissy Pants on his thumbnail, but has the arrow pointing to Sebastian. Best thing I can say is do fucking better. Pay more attention. I understand the arrows in the same place on all the thumbnails. Do better, bro. Take that extra care in your thumbnails or, micromanaging little things like that, and it'll keep you out of some of the trouble that you get into. Right, mama? Tell him, miss me with that shit. All right, guys, that's it for us tonight. I thank y'all for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. Please keep the good vibes and prayers coming for Mr. George Jones, the chicken. If he makes it through tonight will be night 4. And he seems to be doing really good. So let's just keep those positive thoughts and prayers. If you need help and you're feeling alone or sad, please reach out. I'm always open. There are other people in my chat that are always open for conversation. We don't need to talk. We're just here to listen if that's what you need. Just make sure to take care of yourself and each other. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.
We are swimmers.